Hi guys, a warm welcome to the Niels van Roij Design channel and to this EQS, Mercedes-Benz EQS launch. Let's have a look at what Mercedes made of this launch. I mean, I've been slightly critical to a previous launch from the brand. If you haven't seen that, please do have a look at the C-Class launch. But without any further ado, let's have a look at the EQS.
Welcome everybody to the world premiere of the new EQS. In fact, we got several premieres for you today. You're about to witness the arrival of our first ever all-electric luxury sedan, purpose-designed on our brand new dedicated electric architecture and offering a revolutionary way of digital interaction with the MBUX Hyperscreen. The EQS is designed to exceed the expectations of even our most demanding customers, because that's what it takes for a Mercedes to earn the letter S in its name. And we don't award this letter lightly. We believe the EQS combines sophistication, sustainability, high-tech and style like no other car out there. A zero-compromise EV. But of course, we want to know what you think, because this is for you, world.
There's this love I found, can be spinning round. This should never end. Let the dream descend.
Here it is, the new EQS. This car is a true turning point. It marks the start of a new era at Mercedes-Benz. Many teams across our company have worked extremely hard to make this a reality. And for us, the EQS is so special because it's the first Mercedes designed from the ground up as an electric vehicle. And it's not just any vehicle. It's an all-electric luxury sedan on an S-Class level. What does that mean for you as customers? First of all, you get great range, up to 770 kilometers WLTP, and it comes with more interior space than any other electric luxury sedan out there. It simply is a true Mercedes-Benz.
Let's pause the video here for a second. Because this is an important car, quite a few statements are being made again. I'll try to not go into the presentation itself too much. Previous time I did, and I'll try to refrain from that a bit. Not completely though, because I think, well, we'll see what's coming, but yeah, I've got some doubts already. But nevertheless, let's have a look at the car first, proportionally. It is indeed quite different, like he's stating. Of course, a ground-up, completely new platform developed, their first fully electric car designed as such, rather than, let's say, a conversion based on a regular car. Yeah, to me, they could have pushed quite a bit harder. Of course, what is important to note is that it's easier to say to push harder than to do that. We're living in a very, very conservative market, especially Mercedes-Benz is serving to conservative, usually a bit older clients. So these people don't want to see something they don't understand or don't know. They're not familiar with. Something that Tesla did very well with the Model S, basically the first electric car that was available for the masses. Of course, the Roadster was their first car, but that was not, you know, something we can regard it as a true mass production car. So the Model S was the first car that did that broke open the entire market, basically, that in the end also allowed Mercedes-Benz to do the EQS. Looking at the Model S and looking at the EQS, it's, you know, the two are of course quite similar. The A-pillar and cantrail, so the roof structure towards the back being this bow, is a highly aerodynamic shape. The suggestion of something that could be a 6-cylinder or even 8-cylinder or perhaps even 12-cylinder up front is something that Model S does as well. So it has this classical 2 to 3 box shape. So the first box is the engine, the second box is the passenger compartment, the third box is the boot, and in this case, as well as the Model S, it's not a sedan, it's a hatchback or liftback, but nevertheless, let's say a 2-box traditional design for this car, but the Model S is way better proportioned. If you look at the A-pillar and where it meets the bonnet line, let's say, you see this little, what is called a cheater panel, a triangular piece of fake glass in front of the side mirror here, which shows you this is more of, let's say, an MPV than it is a luxury sedan, where the dash to axle ratio, the amount of space between the, let's say, the steering wheel and the front wheels, the bigger that is, the more we perceive a car as being a premium car or an expensive car, a luxury car, an elegant car, sort of imprinted in our collective consciousness. This is not that. This is, you could almost call it the opposite. There's it's a bit unpleasant around that A-pillar and that cheater panel there, although it does have a little bit of space after the front wheel. That front door does look like an MPV door, right? Especially because of that triangle in front of that. So not overly pleasant with regards to its proportions there. It will, however, very likely make sure the interior is extremely spacious, and you know, that's obviously important too. Let's go back to the video and see what they have to tell about the EQS more.
Just look at the MBUX Hyperscreen. See how...
well, that's that's immediately one I'm gonna comment on, because the Hyperscreen, I mean, I've spoken about touchscreens before in many videos. Please do watch them, because I think this is a key point where not only Mercedes-Benz, let's be very frank here, basically every other car manufacturer, exceptions are there fortunately, but most car manufacturers do this, and they do this the wrong way, and it's understandably why they do it wrong, but it's not good design, it's bad design. And here everything is flat, everything is based on a touchscreen. Can you imagine in a couple of years when something will break? You know, cars are so complex, they will break, something will break, and then you can't access your radio anymore, you can't access your navigation anymore, you can't access your climate control anymore, you can't access your temperature controls of you know, your interior, your heated seats, but especially the main functions. On the left hand side, everything is digital too, so I mean behind the steering wheel, apart from all the smudges and the greasy fingers that won't really look S-Class level, as I just said, the S is for S-Class level, it's like a stamp of approval, so to speak. This is not good design, it's poor design, and it's a very poor user machine interface. The only physical buttons are on the steering wheel and a few down there on the bottom in the wood-like structure. Perhaps it's real wood, I don't know, on the center stack. But all the main controls are in a screen. And then knowing that this is basically an S-Class, which is not necessarily serving the youngest generation of people within the Mercedes-Benz lineup, within the Mercedes-Benz portfolio, that is. That means that these people, you know, of an S-Class, people are already using, let's say, only a few % of what the car is actually capable of when it comes to the user machine interface, all these layers behind it. And that's often still with physical switchgear. So now we're asking a generation that is not necessarily very keen on revolutions like this on tech and not very familiar with it. You know, just like people are only using a few percentages of what their phone can do. Imagine now these people, 60, 70 plus, maybe perhaps even towards 80, driving a car that has all these functions in non-physical switchgear. They have to take their eyes off the road towards their screen, into menus, still not looking at the road, you know, changing their air conditioning settings, not seeing that child crossing the road over there. Hopefully the cameras and the lasers and what you have in this EQS will obviously see that child. But again, this is tricky to say the least.
How seamlessly the screen blends in with the beautiful living space inside this car. Using it is a whole new way of interaction between humans and technology. On top, the EQS helps us to excel in reducing our carbon footprint. It goes well beyond zero emissions driving. The EQS battery and the entire car are also manufactured in Germany in a carbon neutral way. I'm now honored to hand it over to someone who joins us in envisioning a more livable future for everyone on the planet. Straight from New Zealand, Mr. James Cameron.
Sorry, you know, I have to comment on the video a bit. Reducing carbon footprint, and literally 2 seconds after what he just told us, we're gonna move, you know, from Germany to New Zealand, the other side of the world, with a camera crew and probably a car and I don't know what else. Anyway, yeah, not exactly reducing your carbon footprint, are you, Mercedes-Benz?
If I could fly, where would I go? If I could fly, oh, I don't know.
Through my films, I hope to inspire audiences to strive for a sustainable world where humans, machines, and nature can learn to coexist. This message is more relevant than ever, and I'm glad Avatar has found a partner who believes in the same vision, Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes joined us on this journey with the creation of the Vision AVTR, which we revealed together last year. This concept car was inspired by the values of Avatar's indigenous people, the Nat V.
Actually, it wasn't. Yeah, I'm sorry to say so, but I can't just unsee what I've seen many years ago in the so-called Lovos concept car designed by a German student in collaboration with BMW in, I think, 2008, 2009, designed by Anne Forschner. She was 24 years old at the time, and she was studying at the rather prestigious Pforzheim University in Germany. And she graduated with the Lovos Lifestyle of Voluntary Simplicity concept car. And it's a fantastically designed concept car that suits the BMW brand as well. Suits the vision, efficient dynamics of BMW. And the car changes shape, if you like. The body changes shape depending on how it's used. And the wings, or the different body panels, however you want to call them, are an integral part of the design of the surfacing of the car. Going back to what Mercedes-Benz is claiming here, or what Avatar, let's say, is claiming. To me, it's a little bit there's a bit too much coincidence going on with these moving body elements of the surfacing. But okay.
Who believe that we must not only limit what we take from nature, but find ways to replenish what we use. And today, I'm excited to share that Mercedes is taking the next step towards realizing this vision. The EQS is an expression of what's already possible today in terms of electric mobility. And it innovates, not only for the sake of innovation, but with a purpose. The all-new EQS is not just an impressive vehicle. It's a commitment to a more balanced world. Here's Britta from Paris to tell you more.
So yeah, sorry, but so now we're flying from New Zealand to Paris. Yeah, reducing carbon footprints. Okay, Mercedes, there you go.
Mercedes-Benz is striving to bring us all closer to a better, more sustainable future. And the EQS is a milestone of our plan to achieve a carbon-neutral new car fleet. And we will fulfill our commitment to the Paris Climate Agreement even earlier than the EU requires. Our aim is to keep the impact on our planet to a minimum. We do this, for example, by using an increased share of recycled and regrown raw materials. We know how important sustainability is to our customers. And with the new EQS, achieving this in everyday life is much easier.
So, yeah, sorry again to interrupt you there, but why do we still build, you know, twin-turbo V8s and G-Wagons with V8s and S-Classes and E-Classes with V8s? And be honest then, right? Be like Volvo, who says only 4 cylinders because that's better for the environment. We put a turbocharger on the 4-cylinder, we put a hybrid drive on the 4-cylinder. Then you're actually doing what you're saying. That's not what Mercedes-Benz is doing here. Okay, back to the EQS.
For example, you'll be able to charge at no cost at all Ionity fast charging stations for 1 year after activation. And with Mercedes Me Charge, we offer one of the largest charging networks worldwide. Plus, we'll help you to minimize your carbon footprint with our new green charging feature. With it,
this is something like we haven't seen in the video yet, but there is a 2-tone version of the EQS, and you can see it here. And I hope it will show in the video later on as well, because so far they've only seen shown the single color body. But wow, that's a properly badly executed 2-tone, you know, a butchery of the car. I hope we'll see some more on it, but have a close look at how specifically the part where the gentleman is walking towards now. So it's right underneath the A-pillar. You can see from the bonnet and the front bumper, there's a line going towards the wheel, and there's another line coming from the shoulder towards the wheel too. And that is just, it sort of pinches the shut line that is there, so it doesn't go over the shut line. And then towards the rear, it also very unpleasantly runs into the tail light rather than floating away in a 2-dimensional way. It's almost applied like it's a 2-dimensional thing, like it's a piece of paper that they can only attach to the car one way and cannot force around the corner. Very unpleasant. So try to have a look at these 2 elements. The A-pillar right underneath towards the front wheel, and the way it flows or doesn't flow into the tail light.
we ensure that as much clean power is fed back into the grid as your electric Mercedes takes to charge. We'll also make driving in the city more efficient and convenient. With the MBUX parking service, We reduce the time you need to search for a parking spot. And of course, you can also pay via MBUX. This beautiful city of Paris not only stands for sustainability, but for style and luxury as well. These characteristics perfectly match with our brand. In the EQS, we bring them together in a completely new look. And talking about looks, let's hear from Gordon, of course, coming from the California sunshine.
Of course, coming from California. Of course, sustainability, California, from Paris, via New Zealand, and of course, Germany.
For us, as designers at Mercedes-Benz, it's all about desire. And desire is about two things: beauty and the extraordinary. I'm a true believer in beauty. Whatever we do, it will be beautiful.
All right. Whatever we do, it will be beautiful. Beautiful proportions, I assume, beautiful surfacing, beautiful detailing, great materials, fantastic user machine interface, a link to relevance, a link to heritage. So, Gordon, take it away.
But we also want to come up with extraordinary solutions. We call it the X Factor.
And guys, what's the message you would like to spread?
That surprises and enchants. Luxury brands always have a distinctive style.
Okay, distinctive style. Luxury is any luxury brand that does well, it links to its heritage. That's why people buy into the brand. There's no rational reason to buy a premium on the product of a competitor that's a lot cheaper if you don't want to buy into the heritage of the brand. So let's see how Mercedes-Benz is answering these questions, or hopefully Gordon is.
Beauty boosted by the X Factor defines our unique style of sensual purity. Along with the significant style of our aesthetic soul, we create desire. With the EQS, we have designed a new shape for Mercedes to define an entire new generation of luxury cars. The first of a new kind of one-bow proportion.
So the one-bow proportion, as Gordon calls it, I wouldn't necessarily call this a first for Mercedes-Benz. They've done this many years ago with the CLS, for instance. It's definitely not a first for the car world. And it's definitely not very well executed in this car, which, especially because it's a non-petrol engine car or diesel engine car, meaning they have so much freedom on the platform, there's no reason for them to not be able to, make it look better, make it have better proportions. Not overly convinced by what he's saying.
Flow defines the entire surfacing, the wave in the belt line and the powerful shoulder pushing the car forward. The seamless design of the EQS front end resembles a high-speed bullet train.
All right, because Mercedes has been making high-speed bullet trains, or what's the link there? Hope he goes into that.
The progressive EQ face shows the black star panel with integrated headlamps and a light beam signature running through, which illuminates the front like a display. Electricity is also staged in the helix light band of the rear lamps. In fact, with its new proportions, MBUX hyperscreen and a zero-layer software, this car is clearly different from anything else we have ever developed. It's a dream of every artist to create the future. With the all-new EQS, we have designed an extraordinary and beautiful car of the future.
He just said he designed something entirely different than what they've done before. Then I'm looking at the down-the-road graphics, so the front graphic of the headlight, combined with what is a grille graphic, the thing that Tesla ditched with the first facelift they did on the Model S, to make it more honest, to make it more relevant, to show it's an electric car. Mercedes-Benz is doing the opposite. So they integrate a massive nose cone, if you like. Like I said, it was done at the Model S when it was launched in the market. But then they also have these very, very large double intakes that also are connected even underneath the very large fake grille. These two side intakes that are fake, an electric car doesn't need that much of air coming in, but they link directly to their gas guzzling cars. Basically, any Mercedes-Benz currently has this same interchangeable face of these massive graphics left and right in the bumper. So this is not what he says it is. This is not a new aesthetic. This is actually the babushka of Mercedes-Benz design, a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, a little bit wider, a little bit higher for the SUVs. The graphics are very, very, very similar to what they've done before, and it's not honest about what it is. It is not showing that this is an electric car. It's not showing it's innovative. And again, I understand they can't push the boundaries super hard because the investments are massive, and the clientele of Mercedes-Benz is rather, not overly forward pushing themselves, let's put it kindly. So they have to deal with this as designers. They have to deal with this strategically. But this is not what he says it is. And I think they could have pushed it towards a place that would be more relevant for Mercedes-Benz. If you haven't seen my video on the C-Class yet, please do have a look at that, because you'll see that the points that are relevant there are relevant here. The surfacing doesn't say Mercedes-Benz. It doesn't say fantastic quality, which it will have. There's no doubt it's a Mercedes-Benz, so it will be well built. It will be well constructed. It will be well engineered. But it's a blob. And a blob doesn't say das Beste oder nichts. It says, undefined, more or less like this, it's okay. It's not precision. It's not German high-tech.
An extraordinary and beautiful car of the future. We created desire. Now, let's take a closer look at the inner values of the EQS. Here's Marcus, not far away in Nevada.
Here in the Nevada desert, our engineers put the EQS through its paces in harsh environments, and they made it truly earn its star. Our entire team worked with great passion to the benefit of all you innovators out there. The result? The EQS is the first model based.
Here, there's actually a good view finally on that nose, because the car that was next to Gorner was obviously very, very dark. But here you can see these massive intakes left and right. But again, this is saying AMG. This is saying a V8 or even a V12. Once they back there in the days that they still offered V12s. It is not saying, it's not conveying the message through design that this is an electric car. It's not conveying it's an innovative car. It's actually saying it's a backward-looking car. It's trying to be something it's not.
On our all-new dedicated electric platform. It's scalable in all dimensions, like wheelbase and track. This also goes for key system components, such as the battery and electric motors. We will use this platform for our all-electric models at the top of our portfolio. This shows we mean business with our Mercedes EQ offensive. Here's Sajjad from one of the most digital cities in the world, Shanghai.
Yeah, sorry, we're moving again, of course.
When it comes to technology, with the new EQS, we pulled out all the stops. So let's talk tech. Some say the car sounds like science fiction. But the EQS can also be totally silent, or it becomes your personal concert hall.
What's going on?
Okay, let me just quickly stop it here. I'll skip Alicia. I'll skip the other journey that we just made from China to here, and we'll continue with the car.
You feeling good? I love the mixture between art and technology, and the way that the car really takes care of the planet is a beautiful plus. I like it. I think you should add it to my collection. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Alicia. What a great way to celebrate this amazing car. Of course, we will be happy to help you out with your collection. With the EQS, we set out to create the most sophisticated EV on the market. And for us, that's not the best solo performance, it's the perfect symphony. This symphony includes interior space that's second to none in an electric sedan, best-in-class aerodynamics and sustainability, and industry-leading quality, safety, and comfort. It's high-tech in a true luxury shell, because all of this is what our customers expect from an electric S-Class. And this is for you, world. I hope you enjoy this show. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Quick stop right here, just to show you again that A-pillar. Even from this perspective you see it, again it's hard to make an electric car, not necessarily proportionally good, but the aerodynamics are obviously adding another layer of complexity. So I feel for the guys, but conceptually, just like the other Mercedes-Benz work, it's empty. And I think although it's not bad, it's not, I think it's better looking than the C. Also, where they at least try to push it a little bit forward, but it's still wildly conservative. It also sits a bit weird. The entire video I've seen, I don't know why, maybe pre-production, but I can't imagine, but that the car is actually leaning forward so that the rear arch, the space above the tire towards the arch, and then compare it to the front, it just sits a bit like that, like, it needs a bit more weight in the back or something. That's a bit unpleasant. Wheel to body ratio is nice, but again, that's with any decent production cars these days, they get bigger wheels to have this better wheel to body ratio. Servicing is quite bland. There's not a lot of innovation at all going on. I'm trying to look through the car. It's nothing that we haven't seen before. There are no interesting ideas really. Compare that to many interesting cars, electric cars as well, with their own face, with interesting proportions coming from China, for instance, but also the recently reviewed Hyundai Ioniq 5, again, one of your requests, just like the EQS is actually one of your requests. So thanks for sending these in. Interesting cars to have a look at together, but compare what Hyundai did and how they pushed, and had a look at their heritage. Despite the fact it's so short, they took the essence, the good stuff from their heritage, from their pony, and pushed it hard into the future. The car is actually completely different when it comes to its proportions in real life, but if you look through your eyelashes, you see this classical 70s body shape there. It has very pleasant details inside and out. It has an interior that doesn't feel tacky, that doesn't have this big plasticky looking glass screen in front. This blobbiness that this car has, exterior and interior, the Ioniq 5 is very well defined. And again, we can't literally translate these elements to a Mercedes-Benz, but I would almost argue that a Mercedes-Benz needs more of the chiseled look that I also argue for in the C-Class review, that it misses this link with the most important cars out of the entire Mercedes-Benz history, the cars from the 70s, from the 80s, the W140, the 124, the 190, you know, so many important cars that radiate quality, that ooze Mercedes-Benzness, if you like, and that would be a fantastic link to push into the future. The Ioniq 5, to come back to that again, doesn't look like a retrospective car. It's not old-fashioned. The Porsche Taycan does exactly the same. It's a super forward-looking car. It's very Porsche. It's not a 911 or anything out of that range. It's clearly its own design. It has fantastic proportions, especially compared to this car, which is more or less a competitor. So again, looking at all these cars and all these different manufacturers pushing their relevant DNA into the future, not forgetting all and denying all what they've done before. That is again what's lacking. It's this relevance. It's not an ugly car. It's not a completely poorly executed car, bar this horrible two-tone paint that they weirdly don't show in this video. But apart from that, you know, even if it stands here in its solid color, I mean, there's no excitement, there's no newness, there's no innovation truly, and there is so much innovation underneath. You know, this range that is massive. Like I said, probably all the materials that are fantastic. It's probably the best electric sedan in the world, you know, coming from Mercedes-Benz. So why doesn't this show? Mainly. So thanks again very much for tuning in to this very long video. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it's very interesting to have a look at these cars critically. And again, I'm not trying to bash colleagues, car designers at Mercedes-Benz, because I know how extremely difficult it is to get into the car world. I've worked for the industry myself before I started to be independent. So this is not a personal attack, if you like, but it is something, you know, I'm deeply passionate about. And I think the Mercedes-Benz brand needs new leadership, needs proper design thinking to connect better with where they came from, so they can push it into a relevant direction into the future. Let me know in the comments, please, if you agree or perhaps completely disagree with me. You know, very much open to the discussion, so let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you for the next video. Cheers and see you later.